Today's topic is energy flow in ecosystem. Before going to energy flow in ecosystem, let's have a look into the important terms. So what is energy flow? Energy flow is the movement of energy through various trophic level. You might have studied in ecological pyramid that there are different trophic level in any ecosystem, and in first trophic level there is always primary producers, and in second trophic level there are primary consumer. In third trophic level there are secondary consumer. In fourth, tertiary consumer, and so on, right? So this is the trophic level, and let's have a look into the organism of each trophic level. First is primary producer. Primary producer converts sunlight into chemical energy through the process of photosynthesis. Examples of primary producers are green plant, algae, and photosynthetic bacteria. Now, primary consumer. Primary consumer obtained energy by consuming primary producer. For any grazing ecosystem, rabbit and all ruminants are primary consumer. Now, who are secondary consumer? Secondary consumer are those organisms who obtained energy by feeding on herbivores. Tertiary consumers are carnivores that feed on other carnivores. Who are decomposers? Decomposers break down the dead organic matter and return nutrient to the environment. So they play important role in re-entering of the nutrient into the ecosystem, right? Now, why energy flow in ecosystem is important to study? Because it provides information regarding the ecological relationship, nutrient cycling, and the stability of the ecosystem. And also it shows the interconnection between the organism, and it emphasizes the importance of maintaining the balanced flow of energy for the health of the ecosystem. Now let's begin with the models of energy flow in ecosystem. Actually, the models of energy flow is based on the statements provided by Lindemann in 1942. He stated that plants and animals can be arranged into trophic levels, and also the law of thermodynamics can be applied to the plants and animals. Now, what are law of thermodynamics? You might have studied that first law of thermodynamics states that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be transformed from one form to another, right? So when you will see energy flow model, suppose this is a small energy flow model where the primary producer is plant and rabbit is primary consumer and lion is the secondary consumer, right? So here, if plant has produced 1000 joule of energy, then in the next level some part of energy will be transferred. Similarly, in the next trophic level to lion, again the amount of energy transferred will be reduced. So why these energy are getting reduced? Because there are some other places where energy is going. There are some other path where energy is going. These paths are respiration, heat, decomposition, and so on. So according to first law of thermodynamics, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. So here, although there is loss of energy at at successive levels, but these energy which is not getting transferred is not losing anywhere. Rather, it is being utilized in some other pathway, right? So this satisfies the first law of thermodynamics. Second law of thermodynamics states that 100% of energy conversion is never practicable. Okay, when there is conversion of energy, some amount of energy uh, is used as a heat, is utilized as a heat. So here also, when there is conversion of energy, some amount of energy is utilized as heat. So law of thermodynamics is applied for model of energy flow. So considering these points, some models were established. Let's have a look into those models. First model is linear energy flow model or single channel flow model. Okay, so according to linear energy flow model, energy is unidirectional and one way. That is why it is also called single channel flow model. Let's have a look. So this is one of the linear energy flow model. Here what is shown in the diagram, that amount of solar radiation reaching to the earth's surface is 1,18,872 gram calorie per centimeter square per year. Okay, so this amount of energy is it reaches to the earth, right? Out of this energy, out of 1,18,872, only 111 is being utilized by autotrophs. You can say that this amount of energy is being limited for this ecosystem, right? So if you will calculate, you will find that this amount is very less. It is only 0.1% of the total total solar radiation, right? When herbivore feed on these autotrophs, again there is transfer of energy, but this amount of energy is very less in comparison to gross primary productivity of autotrophs. This is approximately 17% of the total energy. So this is 17%. Again, when carnivorous animal feed on herbivorous animals, then amount of energy transfer is reduced. This is approximately 29% of the gross production by herbivores, right? So there is reduction in energy. Where are the other energy? These energies are being utilized in respiration, decomposition, and some part is also not being utilized and it become the part of the sediment, right? One more thing is to be noted here, that autotrophs utilize 23 gram calorie per centimeter square per year for respiration, which is approximately 21% of the total gross production by plant, right? Whereas herbivores utilize approximately 30% of the gross production by herbivores, and carnivores utilize 60% of the energy, 60% of the gross production by carnivores. So you can see that there is increasing trend of utilization of energy in respiration. So it shows that autotrophs uses least energy for respiration. Now coming to the next slide. So the that diagram shows two important aspects. First, the flow of energy is unidirectional and non-cyclic in nature. Here non-cyclic means it's not like cycling of nutrients. When you will study the nutrient cycle, you will find that nutrients after passing through the food chain come back to the producer, and producer reuse those nutrients, right? So this is non-cyclic. Unidirectional means in a single direction. Next is energy decreases gradually at each trophic level. So here you have already seen that at each trophic level amount of energy is reduced. Here 111 gram calorie, in herbivores 15 gram calorie, and in carnivores amount of energy utilization is 3 calories. So there is decreasing trend of energy utilization at each trophic level. Now there is one more diagram. This is the diagram for the single energy flow diagram, right? So here what is represented, you can see there are many boxes, 3 boxes are there, right? So what does this signify? Actually this box represents the amount of biomass. If the size of the box is large, if it is bigger, it means large amount of energy or large amount of biomass is there, okay? And if it is small, it means small amount of energy is there, okay? So here this is one means it is in first trophic level, and this is for second trophic level, and this is for third trophic level, okay? So here what you can see, that the size of the box is big. It is big for producer, for plant, signifying that the producer have large amount of energy stored, right? Or they have large amount of biomass, okay? Whereas the carnivores is having least biomass because the size is small. Similarly, there are pipelines that are getting reduced. See here the width of the pipeline is more and is getting reduced after each trophic level, okay? So these pipelines are signifying the energy flow in and out of the trophic level. So reduction in energy, reduction in the width of the pipeline shows that energy flow is also getting decreased after each trophic level, right? So from this figure we come to know that energy moves in trophic energy movement of energy, and there is movement of energy in trophic level, and in each trophic level there is increase in biomass, there is decrease in biomass, and there is decrease in energy flow as well, right? Now what are the significance of linear energy flow model? It shows that shorter food chain tends to have more energy available at higher trophic level. And one more thing is that if someone wants to evaluate the energy availability in ecosystem, they must consider length and complexity of the food chain. Now there is another model, Y-shaped or double channel energy flow model. Why it is mentioned here? Why double channel is mentioned here? Because this model takes into account 2 types of food chain simultaneously. This model states that at the same time 2 food chain work together. So these food chain are grazing and detritus food chain, right? Okay, when you see any tree ecosystem, you will find that the leaves are being consumed by herbivores, and the rest part of the tree or the uneaten portion of the tree are being utilized by detrivores. So at the same time 2 food chain are working together, right? Now one thing you must note, that the importance of grazing and detritus food chain may differ in different ecosystem. In some cases grazing may be more important, while in other detritus play a more significant role, right? Now let's have a look. So this is one of the Y-shaped energy flow model, right? Here in Y-shaped energy flow model, there will be 2 arms, okay? So first arm will represent the grazing food chain, and second arm represents the detritus food chain, right? So this is double energy flow model. Now again there is a double flow energy flow model, Y-shaped energy flow model. When you will provide partition, you will find actually this figure is made up of two Y channel energy flow diagram, Y-shaped energy flow diagram. So the upper portion diagram is for marine ecosystem and lower portion diagram is for, this is for forest ecosystem. So let's have a look into marine ecosystem. In marine ecosystem, you can observe that two food chain are working simultaneously. This is the first food chain, which is in water column. So this is grazing food chain, right? And second one is in sediment. So this is detritus food chain, right? So two food chain are working simultaneously. Now if you will see the energy flow percentage at the end of each chain, you will see that here in this case 100% of energy is getting transferred from the successive consumer, right? And here in detritus food chain, approximately 10% of the energy is getting transferred at last stage. Similarly, in forest ecosystem, you will see this is the grazing food chain. So vegetation canopy is having grazing food chain and soil is having the detritus food chain. So here at the end of the food chain, you will find 10% of the energy is available. But here in the detritus food chain, you will see 50% of the energy is available, if you will consider it with reference to the successive trophic level, right? So what you can see, you can observe that here in marine ecosystem, the energy flow pathway is actually major energy flow pathway is here in grazing food chain, right? Whereas in forest, major pathway of energy flow is this one, detritus food chain. So this is the food chain, and these are the differences in marine, bay and forest ecosystem, right? Now coming to the next slide. In marine ecosystem, a major portion of primary production is consumed by herbivores. Consequently, only a small fraction of primary production is available for detritus pathway. Whereas in forest ecosystem, a substantial amount of biomass is produced, exceeding the capacity of herbivores to consume. Because in forest ecosystem, leaf part are being consumed by herbivores, and major portion trunk and roots are available for the detrivores, for detritus food chain. So obviously they are having more biomass to consume. So that is why in forest ecosystem, detritus food chain are more functional. Now there is one more model. This model shows that grazing food chain and detritus food chain are interrelated because their components, see, for an example, herbivores is are component of grazing food chain, are interconnected with the other component of the detritus food chain. Similarly, detritus consumer is connected with the predator of grazing food chain. In conclusion, Y-shaped or double channel energy flow model provides more comprehensive understanding of energy flow within the ecosystem in comparison to simple linear chain model. This is because this Y-shaped channel energy flow model takes into account the simultaneous functioning of grazing and detritus food chain. That is why it is more realistic representation of energy flow in a ecosystem. Now there is another model, universal energy flow model. Universal energy flow model provides valuable insight into the dynamic of energy flow within the ecosystem, right? And it is used to understand the energy dynamics of various living components, okay? And it visualize and analyze the intricate relationship between different organisms and their energy interaction. So this is universal energy flow model. In universal energy flow model, you will see that each living component is represented by shaded boxes, and there are two key input. One is I and other is A. I is for ingestion. If there is, this is ingestion. If there is animal, and if there is plant, then it is solar radiation. So solar radiation for plant, right? Assimilation, what is assimilation? Assimilation is energy used in various processes like respiration, growth, development, body maintenance, reproduction, and so on, right? So there are two key inputs in universal energy flow model, okay? And one more thing is that here all energy is not getting utilized, right? Some part is not utilized and some part is stored in a in the body, right? So this is the storage of excess energy. So why these energies are getting stored? These energies are getting stored for future need and for supporting growth. So this is all about universal energy flow model. This model is versatile and it provides comprehensive framework to understand the complex dynamics of energy flow within the ecosystem. And by considering the energy inputs, utilization and partitioning among the different components, this model provides valuable insight into interaction and interdependence of energy flow in nature. So this is all about the energy flow in ecosystem.